everyone, Rob here, and I'm continuing my horror film reviews with what I call a Dracula knockoff, or more politely, an unofficial Dracula sequel. It's called Return of the Vampire. It's from Columbia Pictures in 1943, and it stars Bela Lugosi as the vampire Armand Tesla, who stalks the English countryside, drinking blood from the local villagers. But when a pair of scientists find the cause of the holes in the necks of their patients, they put a stake through his heart, and then 23 years later, during a raid, a Nazi bomb wakes him up, and he seeks his revenge with the help of an assistant, a werewolf named Andreas. So, getting into the Halloween spirit here, I'm wearing my Universal horror shirt. I don't know if you can tell from that, because I know the lighting can be bad in some of these videos, but there's Dracula here. I got Frankenstein, the Mummy, the werewolf creature from the Black Lagoon, so I'm trying to get all into the festive Halloween spirit. Okay, now with the Return of the Vampire, this film does attempt to create the atmosphere of a Universal horror B-flick from the time, with all the cheap-looking sets and the talented actors doing very well with the mediocre dialogue they have to do. But this film is just not as good as the Universal horror films, but it can be effective, it can give chills from time to time, and of course Lugosi is playing the vampire similar to what he had done in the past. Now this movie moves at a very brisk pace, and it covers a lot in 70 minutes, and sometimes the dialogue can sound more like exposition, like the opening scene where the werewolf is talking to Telsa's coffin, but the music in the film, in the score, is very eerie, and the sets for the characters' homes are very impressive. Alright, now let's talk about the werewolf himself. I think he was thrown in here just to get people into the theaters, because the Lon Chaney film, Jr. film, The Wolfman, came out 2 years before this film, and it was a success. But the Wolfman here looks like a dog, and he's just not as scary as Chaney's makeup. The film does have some plot holes, like how does Telsa know who put the stake in him years ago, and how does he know their names, and how does he know he's been in limbo for 23 years? Who knows? But what the film has that the Universal movies of that time didn't have was a strong woman hero. For example, this film, it's Lady Jane, who is one of the scientists. I mean, the early Universal horror films had the lead women portrayed as helpless victims, although this film does have one too, but I think it's nice to see a woman get to the bottom of the problem without calling in a man like, Van Helsing. Return of the Vampire is a pleasing time passer. The acting is, for the most part, good. It does have some atmospheric parts, despite some plot holes, and some cheap werewolf makeup that we mentioned, but Columbia Pictures was one of the cheaper major movie studios at that time, and they didn't put much money into their beat pictures or their serials or their short subjects, but I do recommend giving it a shot, especially if you liked vampire movies like Dracula. So I'm Rob, and thank you very much for watching R&B Reviews, and you guys know what to do. Leave your comments about the video or if you've seen the movie, and we all know there's no such thing as vampires.